Republicans convened us in the middle of the night a couple weeks ago to pass their billionaire tax break bill, which even Elon Musk, their great hero, now calls a disgusting abomination. Another class war tax scam that will not only throw 14 million Americans off of their Medicaid, but increase the national debt by $3 trillion. In case our friends missed it, Elon Musk, who you've been praising since this administration began, has a message for you today. Shame on you. Shame on those who voted for it. You know you did wrong, says Elon Musk. So I was pleasantly surprised to see we were going to have a hearing on antitrust, because there used to be Republicans like progressive trust buster Teddy Roosevelt who actually believed in protecting the American people against price-fixing conspiracies, monopoly, and runaway corporate power. I thought perhaps, Mr. Chairman, we could get together to protect our personal data, to investigate alleged monopolization of live events tickets, and lower prices on everything from eggs and other groceries to credit card junk fees, which have been soaring under the Trump administration, despite his promise that he would lower the price of eggs and everything else on day one. Silly me. Like everything else, antitrust in the hands of our friends is just one more chance to attack America's colleges and universities that refuse to surrender control to that luminary academic scholar, Donald Trump, who wants the federal government to take over faculty hiring, student admissions, and academic affairs at every university in America. And I don't even know why Donald Trump's so mad at Harvard. They let in his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, after the Kushner family donated $500,000 to get him in, just like Trump pardoned Kushner's father, Charles, a major Trump donor who's our new ambassador to France, for his multiple convictions for tax evasion and witness tampering. Now that would be a worthwhile hearing, Mr. Chairman, how wealthy people like the Kushners and the Trumps buy their way in to America's elite institutions, as Donald Trump calls them. But antitrust is now just a weapon of political attack, not economic analysis. When businesses advocate sustainable investing, House Republicans accuse them of violating antitrust. When consumers want to exercise the right to boycott, Republicans accuse them of violating antitrust. Gee, if you don't support their monstrous, ugly tax break bill for billionaires, they'll accuse you of violating antitrust. We'll probably be having a hearing on how Elon Musk is now violating antitrust since he's turned against Donald Trump and their appalling bill. So today they're accusing 8 universities who represent less than 0.5% of undergraduate students in the entire market across America of engaging in some completely vague and massive antitrust conspiracy. Republicans actually trotted out this pathetically weak theory in the first Trump administration, and of course no antitrust scholars took it seriously, and even their own Department of Justice didn't do anything with it. They control the antitrust division again. Why do they need another hearing in this committee? Why don't they just bring their case if there's a case? They've got the power. That's what they've been talking about. Look, this is pure power politics. President Trump's attacks on higher education reflect a standard move by authoritarians like Vladimir Putin in Russia and Viktor Orban in Hungary. This is right out of the dictator's playbook. Subdue and control any institution that could provide a check on your lying and your corruption. Prevent any possibility of opposition and dissent from forming against the autocrat and his regime. Clear a path for the agents of propaganda and disinformation, and destroy the institutions that have given us great advances in scientific discovery and intellectual inquiry, as Mr. Nadler points out. J.D. Vance gave the whole game away, by the way, when he repeatedly quoted Richard Nixon to say, "The professors are the enemy." Nixon said, "The professors are the enemy." Write that on the blackboard 100 times and never forget it. Department of Education Secretary Linda McMahon ominously warned, if schools want to continue to do research, they must fall in line with the administration and its goals. They must be, quote, in sync with the administration and what the administration is trying to accomplish. That's a federal government takeover of every private and public university and college in America. Now, Harvard has stood up to the administration's attempted hostile takeover, rejecting its blatantly unconstitutional demands to control its governance, its curriculum, and the ideology of its faculty and students. In response, the administration has come after the university's research contracts and grants, and more recently, even its ability to enroll foreign students, only to be shut down by the courts, and not left-wing rogue Democrat judges, but Republican judges too, for violating the university's First Amendment rights. We've got academic freedom in America under the First Amendment. And now the Trump administration ridiculously threatens to come after the university's tax-exempt status. They want to revoke Harvard's tax-exempt status, and they've asked all federal agencies to cancel all of the contracts they have with Harvard to get the work of the American people done. Contracted work. But Trump is losing in court every day, and Harvard is winning as it stands up for academic freedom and its right to make scientific and academic progress. And hundreds of colleges and universities across the country are standing with Harvard. DHS head Kristi Noem has said that its actions against Harvard should serve as a warning to all universities and all academic institutions. After Trump canceled more than $1.5 billion in research grants, we know that state universities and community colleges have been hit hard. At smaller schools, researchers are going to lose their jobs, labs will close, and important work will go undone. Our Republican colleagues have no interest in making higher ed more accessible and more affordable. In their big, beautiful bill, they're cutting programs that help students pay for college, all to fund their tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans. Those cuts to higher education in America include severe limits on Pell eligibility, the end to subsidized loans, and a host of other destructive changes that will push college way out of reach for hundreds of thousands of Americans. The administration also proposed nearly an 80% reduction in federal work-study funding and eliminating support for childcare for students who are parents. What world are these people living in? This is breathtaking duplicity to claim that the Ivy League schools are conspiring against their students to make tuition unaffordable when House Republicans are complicit in the largest setback in access to higher education for working class Americans in decades. Not content to undermine American students through these direct cuts to education, they're also proposing cutting $880 billion from Medicaid and $300 billion from SNAP, the nation's primary anti-hunger program. Do you know what happens to millions of low-income students who don't have health care and don't have enough food to eat? Most of them are going to drop out of school. Today's hearing just regurgitates the MAGA agenda: persecute and punish anyone who refuses to submit to Donald Trump's right-wing ideological agenda or gets in the way of their plan to fund tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans on the backs of everybody else. It is a cruel, dangerous program, and it's got nothing to do with antitrust law. I yield back.